If you grew up near the Appalachian Mountains, you've probably heard the warning before you ever heard the name for it. If you see a deer that watches you a little too long, that stands a little too still, don't wait around to find out why. It's not a story parents tell to keep kids away from the woods after dark. People who live out there tell it to each other as adults in complete seriousness. Locals have called it the not deer for generations. The Foundation calls it SCP-6448. And unlike almost everything else this channel has covered, this file was never really a secret to the people who actually live near it. By the time this channel gets to explain the official file, the actual warning has already been passed down through more generations than the Foundation has even had a name for it. SCP-6448 is an anomalous branch of the deer family, and every single instance is believed to be sapient. Not just intelligent. Aware, in a way, ordinary wildlife simply isn't. Most look like ordinary deer at a glance. It's the details that give them away once you know to look for them. Legs that bend the wrong way at the joint, barrel-shaped, bloated bodies that don't match the rest of the frame, eyes that clearly belong to something else entirely. Some are emaciated to the bone. Others move in short, jerky bursts, like a puppet still learning how its own limbs are supposed to work. Some walk upright on two legs, like something still learning to wear the shape it's chosen to imitate. And every single one of them has lost whatever fear real deer are supposed to have of people. If anything, out here, it tends to run the other way around. The file notes that some instances have even been observed attempting to communicate with ordinary, non-anomalous deer nearby, as though still trying to pass as one of them. Local communities in the Appalachians have recognized this pattern since at least 1947, decades before the Foundation ever gave it a number. It wasn't formally classified as anomalous by the Foundation until 1980. The stories and the warnings passed quietly between neighbors came first and came decades earlier. That's rare for a file this channel could cover. Most anomalies get discovered by researchers first. This one got explained generations late to people who already knew exactly how to avoid it. Most rural households in high-activity areas still pass down the same basic precautions today, the same way you'd teach a child to avoid a busy road. It's a strange kind of survival, an entire folk tradition built quietly around information the Foundation itself wouldn't formally confirm for another 3 decades. There is no single facility holding this file, and there never really has been. Containment here means watching a pattern, not holding a population. The Site-44 Cryptozoology Division researches the phenomenon on an ongoing basis, but the wider population itself remains completely free across the wild, spread out across an area too vast to ever fully secure. Only individually captured instances are ever brought in for study, one at a time, and only when circumstances make it unavoidable. The rest keep living exactly where they've always lived. That's worth sitting with directly. This isn't a file where containment failed once and the Foundation is still cleaning up the mess. It's a file where containment was never realistically on the table to begin with. Civilian sightings are handled by a specific task force, Mobile Task Force Gamma 4, nicknamed the Green Stags. Their job isn't combat, it's arriving quickly, quietly, and making sure a sighting never becomes a headline, a viral post, or a reason for outsiders to start looking closer. Most of their work looks more like public relations than anything this channel would usually call a task force operation. A quiet word here, a discouraged rumor there. It's one of the few task forces this channel has covered whose real skill isn't force at all. It's making sure nobody who saw something ever fully trusts what they saw. In 1994, 3 captured instances broke out of the North Carolina facility researching them using a tunnel system they'd apparently been carving for some time, entirely undetected. One instance being prepared for study at the time was lost in the breach and never recovered, despite an extensive search of the surrounding area. Over the following decade, every newly captured instance found the exact same way out, as if the knowledge itself was somehow being shared between them. Eventually, the entire research program was relocated overseas to Site-44, simply to put enough distance between the population and its own escape route to finally stop the pattern from repeating. It's a strange kind of defeat for an organization built around control. Every wall they built, this population simply learned to dig under, faster than new walls could be raised. No instance has been successfully held in a permanent facility since. Whatever intelligence let 3 of them tunnel out in 1994 apparently never stopped being useful to the ones that came after. One of the file's stranger addenda records a researcher attempting to communicate with a captured instance through what was supposed to be one-way observation glass. The setting was ordinary enough. A holding room, a notepad, a handful of simple test questions meant to gauge how much the instance actually understood. The researcher asked, half joking, whether it was something imitating deer rather than an actual deer at all. The instance's gaze never left him for the entire exchange, and the staff on the other side quietly confirmed something the researcher clearly hadn't been told beforehand. That glass was never actually one way to begin with. The log ends there without further explanation, which is exactly the kind of ending this file seems most comfortable giving. Ask around long enough in the right parts of the Appalachians, and you'll find people with genuinely practical rules for this. Don't approach a deer that doesn't run. Don't make eye contact for too long. Never follow one off a marked trail. None of that sounds like folklore when you hear it delivered flatly, the same way you'd be told which roads flood every spring. Newcomers to the area sometimes laugh it off, the same way this channel's audience might have laughed off the name Bigfoot before hearing what actually sits behind that file, too. It's a strange kind of containment procedure. The file never had to write down itself. An entire regional culture quietly doing part of the Foundation's job for it without ever being told why. Whether that arrangement was ever intentional or simply the accidental result of a secret this large never staying fully contained to one filing cabinet, the file itself doesn't say. Either way, it means this file has 2 containment systems running side by side. One written in Foundation procedure, one passed down at kitchen tables, for free, for generations. Deaths connected to this file get filed quietly as ordinary hiking accidents, the kind that happen in rugged terrain every single year without anyone thinking twice. Sightings get blamed on a real, ordinary illness called chronic wasting disease, a genuine condition that really does cause deer to look and move strangely. It's a believable lie, built out of something true, which is exactly why it's worked quietly for as long as it has, without ever needing a single dramatic cover-up. Most people who hear the official explanation walk away satisfied. It's the ones who grew up out there, who already knew better, who quietly stop asking questions instead. It's a rare kind of containment success this channel has covered, built almost entirely on the fact that the truth was simply less convenient to believe than the excuse sitting right next to it. So that's SCP-6448, not a monster hiding in the dark. Something wearing a shape you already trust, standing exactly where you'd never think to look twice. Uncontained. Unresolved. Still out there tonight, somewhere past the tree line, wearing a face you already know how to ignore. Most files this channel covers end with the Foundation holding the line somewhere. This one just ends with the line never really existing in the first place. Somewhere in those mountains tonight, someone is quietly warning a neighbor exactly the way it's been done since long before this channel ever had a file number to give it. I'm Shroudex. See you in the dark. And if a deer ever looks at you for a little too long, don't wait around to find out why.